Let me,
Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of the Guest Spotlight. Please, if you haven't already, comment, like, subscribe, because we have some exciting things coming out. But with that being said, tonight, joining me as always is my co-pilot, Raul Rodriguez, and special guest, Big Brother Season 15 contestant, McCrae Olson. Thank you both for joining me this evening.
how's it going, guys?
Good.
Yes,
so,
I'm doing
one of the first things I kind of wanted to jump into here, and we kind of mentioned it in the pre-show there. So, growing up as a kid, I read that you were into a lot of comics and video games. What were some of your favorites, and which ones really sparked that interest with you growing up?
I mean, I think I got a Super Nintendo when I was 4 years old, I believe, and I played Super Mario World, and ever since that, I was just obsessed. Super Mario World is just one of my favorite games ever. I think, that just sparked my interest in weird nerd culture, I would guess. I didn't find comics till a little bit later in life, but good storytelling is what I'm about. And I think Super Mario World is definitely the beginning of my love of storytelling, and comics grew that love into serialized storytelling, I'd say.
Well, yeah, exactly. And comics, or the writing and just the storytelling of those are just amazing. So I totally agree.
It's a medium that doesn't get the love that I think it should, and it's a medium for storytelling that's fucking fantastic. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can.
No, you can. Yeah, that's
okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. No, that's true. And now storytelling, all this, is that also movies? Growing up, did you have any favorite movies, and was that also a medium that you loved?
Yeah, I mean, I also grew up around a camera. My dad had an old VHS camera on your shoulder kind. And yeah, he showed me how to make stop play animation. And I was like,
wow.
Oh my God, you can do a lot of cool stuff with this. And so then I decided video camera taped to my face, for most of my life. So I would just film everything I could. I mean, movies, I guess that really this is the dumbest one, and it's embarrassing almost. It's like a bad tattoo. One of my favorites was Donnie Darko, and that's when I realized I was if I could make a movie that made you feel something weird like that, that's what I want to do in life. So Donnie Darko was one of the first movies where I was oh, holy shit, movies can make you feel stuff and be I found that at the perfect time. But yeah, that's it's a bad tattoo. Yeah.
Well, I love that movie actually, and I think a couple weeks ago we were talking about when Jake Gyllenhaal is being speculated being the villain in Spider-Man. His performance in that, and just him as an actor, I think was great.
Oh yeah, he's great. Cool. No, he's a great actor. And yeah, probably the next one.
Still Donnie Darko is still on my list. I still haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it? Oh my goodness, you have to.
I mean, it could be skippable, but also no. There's Patrick Swayze's fantastic in it. He's a creepo, and there's a lot of
Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen or Danny McBride?
Oh yeah, Seth Rogen's in it. Yeah, he plays the bully. That's got to be one of his first evers for sure.
So you had a camera and you film. Did you do it some short films and stuff going through school? Was that kind of the crowd you were hanging with?
Yeah, definitely. I just always have a camera. We went on a cruise one time, and in cruise ships you have to go through a little escape emergency procedure, and so everyone has to get their life things on, their safety vest, and I would just start filming it, and I was this is just production value, this looks like the ship's about to sink. Everyone's just that was one of my favorite times. But yeah, awesome. in high school, I was just deep into broadcasting, and I just would make the daily news show, and that's when I found my love for hey, I'm gonna perform and be fucking wacky, I like doing that stuff.
Yeah, of course. And did you also dabble in theater as well, or just mostly
Yeah, I didn't get into theater because I'm a very self-conscious person, and I don't like to put myself out there too much, but for whatever reason, being behind the camera made it there's a remove,
a separation.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. So yeah, I like to I'm bummed out. I wish I got into theater because I think it could be useful. I don't know.
Well, it is. It's two kind of different things, but they're kind of similar in that way where you're still giving the performance. But that's awesome. What I wanted, and one of the things too, is so growing through high school and whatnot, were you aware of the reality television and Big Brother going?
That's exactly around the time that I started to watch Big Brother. I believe I was a junior in high school. I always was aware of it because my mom was always she watched it from the very get-go, that and Survivor. I was more into Survivor, but like at that point, like my interest in reality TV had waned. It was right around Big Brother 6 when my mom was like, you should watch this because these people are nuts and you would like that. And my mom knows how I think. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. And yeah, it was just like the beginning of Janelle being a boss from Minnesota. I'm from Minnesota. That really is what sealed the deal. Watching like James Ryan play the game. That's when I was like, oh, this is a game. This isn't just like drama in a house. Like there's real like strategical moves that could be played. And then after that, like I just started getting my friends into it, and we all just like, it became like a thing. Like it was our like ritual to just watch Big Brother, and that was the start of the love.
Wow, that's awesome. What were some of your favorite past players and whatnot going through?
Obviously, we went back after season 7 once we like. We didn't really know who Dr. Will was, but then we started watching season 7. And you start seeing Dr. Will, and you're like, "What? Who is this guy?" We're going back right now. Like in the middle of that season, we went back and binge watched season 2, and we're just like, "This man is amazing." Yeah. I don't know how you guys feel about.
Oh no, 100%. Incredible,
but like,
incredible.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, Dr. Will obviously, Boogie just for the like alliance factor. But yeah, Janelle's one of my favorites just because of Minnesota love. And James Ryan, when you go through Big Brother casting process, sometimes they'll ask you, like, who's your favorite player? And I said, like, it's James Ryan and Crazy James from season 9, I believe. Yeah. Crazy James, so it's both Jameses. And, like, those are 2 deep cuts, I think, for, like, the people that I was with. So it's, like, that kind of helps out. But, yeah, Crazy James, because Crazy James had a lot of love. He was wacky, wild character. Plus he played strategic and he made it kind of far. Like he did decent, but yeah, James Ryan was the first time where I was like, oh, you could play this game like very strategically and like as if it is chess, you know? So those 2 are like my pinnacle of favorite players, but now everything is kind of different because I've started to meet the people. I've started to meet these players, and now like your perspective of everyone changes. I like, I say this one all the time, but Brendan, Rachel and Brendan. Like when I watched the show, I was just like, oh man, I hate this guy. But when I met him in real life, he's like the greatest dude ever. Like he'll sell the shirt off, or he'll give the shirt off his back, you know. But like, and so like when people are like, oh, I hated him, it's like, yeah, I understand that, but also like, take my word for it, I've met him. He's a good dude, you know. Everything's changed.
That's really interesting too, and that's cool that you get to have that perception of them and seeing them, and then being on the show. And that was one of the questions I wanted to ask later with the after production, when you have a lot of these meet greets that a lot of the cast and whatnot attend. So that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Now going into I guess the audition process, what was the deciding factor of, hey, I would like to maybe give this a shot, and what were your expectations, I guess, going into that?
Well, I mean, okay, so once I started watching the show, I started being a super fan, started watching feeds everywhere I could. I started to go to hamsterwatch.com, which is the greatest resource for Big Brother entertainment, or for Big Brother content, snarky, rundowns of every day in the house. Hamsterwatch.com is just, she's awesome. She had a nice little community that I kind of started to settle into. We all became very good friends, and I started to realize she would always talk about how she would never ever want to be cast on the show because it's like your skeletons get shown, people hate you, all this. Like she really like made it real for me, where it's like, oh yeah, it's a nightmare to be on the show. It's not fun and games. And so I was like, I never ever want to be on the show. But as like I started getting more and more of my friends into it, more and more of my friends would want to like audition for it. And one of these times, like my friends were going, I was like, I'll go, like we could go get lunch or whatever. Like I'll audition just to see what it's like. And then I heard that Janelle was going to be at this audition. So I was like, yeah, like I'll go. I woke up late and I was like, maybe I won't. I'm a real lazy person. So I was like, I shouldn't. But it's kind of one of those things where like, I better. And then I went, and like, yeah, stuff just happened. You get in a line with people, and you just like they ask you questions like, who in this group of people would you align with? And like I was quiet the whole time. I listened to what everyone said, and then I pretty much just decimated everyone I just used everything against everyone. People were loud, and I was like, oh, this person's way too loud. Like I'd keep them with me because they're going to be a bigger shield, or a shield for me. And everyone like looked at me like, what the hell, And then afterwards, they all wanted to exchange like information, like just in case any of us gets cast. And I was like, maybe I did do okay. I think like that seemed weird. Like I wouldn't ever want to do that with people. But yeah, and then it just started kind of like rolling from there. Just more and more calls backs and what have yous.
And so like, and I believe it's Robin Cass, right? Who's the director for the show. Is she involved with like the entire production, or is it just like seeking the talent for PBS? She mainly seeks the talent. Robin is like a very storied person in the reality television. She's like one of the very first like casting directors that ever did it. Like if you remember shows such as like Eliminate or like Blind Date, I can't remember exactly which ones, but like the precursor to all reality television essentially, which she cast those shows. So she found crazy people right from the get-go. So in 2002, I think maybe she came in, they were like, we're looking for like someone experienced like that, finding craziness. And she can find crazy like nobody's business. But yeah, so she's the main casting director. Once they get in there, she has no say or anything like that. Once you get out, she's like one of the first people that comes to you and is like, like you played great or whatever. She's our mama. She's the everyone's alumni's mother. And that's something I've noticed even through Twitter and just seeing everyone's love and just connections with her, and that's why I wanted to kind of mention it and just ask. She's
fantastic.
So what I guess one of the things I was curious about too is what's the timeline, I guess, like between them saying, okay, here's your cast on the show, and then the premiere is this date. Because I know you do the Jeff Schroeder interview, and then you film the finding of the keys and stuff.
Like, it's tough for me to remember because it's all like a whirling blur. But I think like at least a month out before you go in, like more than that, like once you get to a certain point in the casting process, like at certain points I saw people leave the casting process. So it's like I can see that they're weaning down, like I'm getting really close, and I got to the final day of casting. And at that point, they're pretty much like, no, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who's going to get cast at this point, but start putting your ducks in order. Start making sure your house is going to be paid for 3 months or whatever you need to do. Like, so they get everyone ready, and they probably have a good 25, maybe. They like 20 people probably at the end, and then they start to wean down, and then they also have alternates. And so this is another thing, is that I was actually an alternate.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And so they pretty much told me like a month before, they're like, we've got good news and bad news. Like, what do you want first? And I was like, well, I want the bad news. And like, well, you're an alternate. And I was like, okay. So pretty much what that means is if anyone drops out, if anyone screws up, if anything happens, I'm like one of the next people in line. So I was bummed out, but at the same time, they were like, well, we'll pay you $1,000 to come to California for the week. And I was like, Big Brother is going to pay me $1,000 for a week. I make $136 every 2 weeks. Like that, you can't beat that kind of money. And it's your favorite show paying you to live. So I was all about it. I was like, I don't care. Let's do it. And so eventually, like maybe another week out from that, they come and kidnap you. And then there's like a director there with a cameraman, and they pretty much just sit and like, okay, what is your persona? Who are you going to be? Like, because they also said like this might affect, like, you're an alternate, but this like story, if we have a good little story here, it might be, it might sway their minds or whatever. So like my whole thing was just like me delivering pizza or whatever. And like so we just filmed all this stuff of me being like, hey, I'm the pizza boy, like just goofy
building
shit.
Those personalities, right, for the show. That's
exactly. Cool. And then like they give me the key on the pizza or whatever, and I'm all pumped, I'm shouting, I'm jumping around, and then like they're like, all right, I think we got it, and I'm like, does this mean I'm not an alternate anymore? And they're like, oh no, you're still an alternate. And it's just like, thanks. Wow. All right. Well, yeah, it's like you got to fake it even though you think you're not going to be on it. And that's really tough. That's a really big bummer.
So then apparently, I guess then someone ends up not working out. They contact you saying, okay, so you're going to be on the show. What were, I guess, your expectations? One of the things I was curious about is like, do they talk to the guest saying, look, like how you mentioned on Hamster Watch, how people can be so opinionated and stuff. Do they warn you about that?
I can't remember so much because I was just so aware of it regardless. I don't remember if they did tell us, but I don't think they told any of my other house guests. That's for damn sure. Yeah, no, they pretty much give us like prior seasons to watch while we're in the sequester. We're like about a week out from the air show. They give us like like a bunch of seasons to watch, and you can just go through every episode and you have nothing else to do. You can't have your phone, anything like that. So it's like you just watch that. But yeah, and then like maybe like we went in on a Friday. On Wednesday morning I got a call, and then in that morning they're like, oh, you're gonna have some guests by, and I'm like, okay, whatever, they're gonna cut me or something like that. They're gonna get like send me home. And then they like the big wigs of the show, Don Woolman, like Allison Grodner and Robin, came into my room. My room's just a mess because I've been living in squalor this whole time. They come in and they're pretty much like, what would we say if we said that you're going on the show? And I'd be like, well, that's a mean thing to say to someone that's not going to be on. And they're like, you are going on. And so this whole time I was like, there's no way they're going to put my stupid ass on this show. There's no way. So like my training was half-assed at best. That's not an excuse for the way I played, but it was just like, so then like on that Wednesday, then I'm like, oh my God, like I got to start like seriously gaming here. I got to start writing notes, or like, cause you do have like colored pencils and stuff in sequester, but like, that's when I started getting very serious about it. Probably 2 days before I went in the house, like, you know, but yeah, I mean, I always am training for Big Brother to a degree.
Well, of course. And like, so is there like a set list of things that they tell you can bring and not bring? Because the notebook thing, that was something I always was wondering, like, because you have to memorize so much. Do they give you any kind of tools like that?
I mean, they have like a book, like they have like all these requirements of like stuff you can't wear and stuff like that. As soon as you get to that hotel that you're going to be sequestered in, they rifle through your stuff, just like tear everything apart, like what has brands on it, what do we have to Greek out, just like all that kind of stuff. So you know, even if you wore something that was allowed on the list, they might be like, no, this wasn't allowed, and then you feel like a real asshole. It's very odd, but yeah, they have like lists of stuff like that. The paper, they pretty much just gave us like, they gave us just like coloring paper so we wouldn't get bored. And so then it's just like, well, I'm going to take notes on this to try to like just push it into my brain. But it's like, once you go in there, you have nothing. I mean, you could have like a Bible. So I had a Bible. I'm not a Bible person at all. But I was like, man, there's going to be some good stories in this thing. And sure as hell there was. And then the other weird thing is that like my friends wrote a little note in the Bible before I left. And so eventually when I was in the house, I got to that note. So like, there's a little, like, awesome. There's a way that you can bypass production in the show. You know, they're not going to go through every page of the Bible. So there's put some strats somewhere, you know, I don't know.
But yeah, the whole branding and the shirt thing, I totally can see them wanting to restrict.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, like, when you got into the house, how quickly do you adapt to the house, and how long do you mix the real world outside the house?
Well, I'm a person that's I lived in like a flop house essentially before I was on the show. I lived in a house that was just like, I didn't have much going for me when I went on the show. So like, to me, I'm going on my favorite show. Like, everything is just like, this is the best. I don't miss outside life at all. Like, what do I have to go back to? Nothing, you know? So to me, it's just like every day is just, I'm grateful that I'm there and just excited. That eventually wanes. That will go away. Like, I didn't get used to the house for quite a long time. Like, once I had power, then I could definitely like, all right, I'm going to sit back. Like, I don't have to feel worried at all for at least a week. So then you kind of start to get comfortable. But like, I think what you might be angling towards is like, when does like the weirdness of the cameras go away? And like, for me, I was aware that if you like didn't wash your hands when you came out of the bathroom, like the live feeders would be up your ass about it, you know? So to me, I was like always constantly aware. I think on like maybe day 80 was a day that I let my guard down and walked out of a shower butt naked and was like, I made it so long. I'm an idiot. So yeah, that's that's when I let my guard down. But it's different for everyone, you know. It's just how aware you are of your surroundings, I guess. I don't know.
Well, and I wonder if maybe even just your familiarity with cameras and stuff growing up also helped you with that aspect of it.
Absolutely. And I felt like I was always just a little bit extra more, a little bit more aware of what was happening. I think. One day I go on. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was just going to jump into like the premiere and you walking into the house for the first time. How did that feel being like a huge Big Brother fan and seeing the contestants and people right away?
It was surreal. There's to me, it's like a dream. And it was like a dream for me when I was there. Stuff like that, when big stuff like that happens, like I just black out and then like another person just takes over. And like, I just remember walking in and being like, okay, this is so much different than it looks on TV. It's just very high ceilings. It's got like a set feel. It's so weird. But yeah, that was like blew me away right away. And the next thing was like, I got to find a bed. I knew you have to go to the right away and find a bed. So I had that all locked up. I knew I was like, well, if I have to share with someone, I want to, just because that's early bedfellows or, like might be an alliance. And I'm going to be the most nicest guy there is. Like, oh, I don't care. I'll sleep on the ground. Like, whatever. I'm going to be the laid back guy because I don't care. I'm here in Big Brother. But yeah, so, seeing all these people, like immediately I'm like, oh my God, I have to memorize a bunch of names. The other problem is that I don't look like any of those people. I said it in my damn episode. Like, I don't look like those people. I don't talk like them. I feel like, I'm obviously the odd man out. That's really tough for me because I'm a person that like I'm so quiet until I start to warm up to you, and then it's like we can get into some real trouble or whatever, but it's very tough for me.
Well, and that's one of the things watching Big Brother. It's like it very much reminds me of high school, the different cliques and obviously like the popularity aspect of it. So the people that go in that are like the strong working models and stuff that go into showmances right away, I feel like those guys have more of that.
Well, they've already been trained. They've been training for that part of Big Brother for most of their lives. I have not been training for the cool clique club, for most of my life. I've been the losers and the, rejects. So like, that's why I was like, I got to find those people immediately. That's why I kind of like became friends with Andy very quickly, Spencer as well. It's just like they don't fit the typical mold of all these cool kids. Hopefully they'll be on the side of like we're rejects and outcasts. That was definitely a part of my strategy.
Well, and I was going to ask too, was there any contestants and other castmates that like stood out to you right away? Or were there people that were like, oh, okay, I must avoid them? I feel like there's going to be
and so like when you go through the casting process, you see a lot of these same people over and over again. So like you're kind of aware of their personas just by like body language and stuff like that. Like I could tell in casting that Nick was like the smooth motherfucker, like, oh yeah, this guy thinks he's the fucking best. Like, so everyone kind of felt that about him. He definitely like projected that, and everyone was always skeptical about him. There was Judd. I thought like 100% Judd from my season. I thought he was Howie's cousin for some reason. And I was like, yep, I want to be friends with Howie's cousin. And then when people told me that Alyssa is Rachel's sister, I was like, there's more family members. Judd's, like Howie's brother's son. I don't know. But like Judd looks like Howie from Big Brother 6 and 7. So like I tried to like hook up like with people like that. And the other thing about it is like once I had power for HOH, like it didn't matter. I knew I was going to be in trouble like beginning just because like I'm the odd man out. And that's why like I made a gut check. I was just like, I'm going to win HOH. Let's do it.
And you're the first male, I suppose, to win both HOH and POV of your season. Because right away, week 1.
Yeah.
I read somewhere there's like the 3 other females that are in that category too throughout the whole series.
Yeah, Rachel definitely.
Yeah. So did you think that like joining the house right away and getting that power definitely affected how the rest of the house perceived you? Saying like, a lot of people think not to win the first competition because it shows that power kind of whatnot.
Yeah, and I think like to me it was only it only helped me because like I think I was underestimated right away, and I think even winning that, people were like, "Oh, it's a fluke." So like I had like the best of both worlds, where people were like, "Okay, like maybe this dude can win," and then on veto, it sure is, I won another thing stupidly, but like I could still always downplay it because I was a smoker, so I would go out and just smoke constantly, and I would just really like play up that I'm just a lard, just like I like to self-deprecate, and I thought that would always kind of help me in the game. Just like if I can convince them that I suck, maybe they'll think less of me and underestimate me. And underestimation was a huge part of my game, I thought. But winning those two things that was stupid. That was getting my pride.
It adds to your catalog as well of just being like, you have two HOH wins, right, or three?
I have two HOH wins overall and 3 vetoes.
3 vetoes, yes.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Especially just being a Big Brother fan, having that attached to your name is beautiful. So one of the things I wanted to kind of touch on too is the diary room process. So how much like contact do the producers give with you, and any requests? Do they film different thoughts and reactions, and how many times a day do you have to be circulating through there?
It depends. Being in the house, you kind of realize, so like in the beginning, Nick was in the diary room probably 37 times a day in those first 2 weeks. And everyone was like, why is he going in there so much? Like, he's either the worst diary room performer or like there's something going on with him. And so it's like you kind of pick up on that kind of stuff of like, if there's someone, Andy wasn't on the show for the first 4 weeks, so he never got any diary rooms. And we're just like, you kind of start to think about that stuff. You go in there, obviously in the first week, I was a part of the HOH and the veto. So like I had a lot of diary room sessions, but they go in there and they pretty much just like, they ask you about both sides of everything, because they can take whatever they want from both sides, like imagine, like who are you going to put up if you do win it? What if you don't win it? What are you going to do? So, they make it fair. You also develop like a relationship with these producers. Like you have probably, I would say almost like 7 different producers, and you get to know them pretty well. There's some you don't like. There's some that you are best friends with. And I think like at a certain point, if I was Big Brother, I don't know if this is true, but if I was them, it's like, okay, well, this person has a great repertoire with this person. So like, let's bring this person in to now like really seal the deal and use that relationship. Like, I think Big Brother plays Big Brother just as much as we play Big Brother, which is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. That is very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
To think of it that way. So with the whole the diary room and whatnot, how many time is like? Because I've heard even online, like how much time is spent waiting around between competition and eviction night? Is there a lot of just kind of short talk and memorization with the other housemates?
It depends. Like some people are focused on the game. Some people are, out in space. Like some people like to hear themselves talk. Some people, there's some of the best times are when you're not worried about the game and everyone's just kind of bullshitting like together. That just is like my favorite memories. But then other times it's like, hardcore game. Like Amanda, she didn't know the game at all. And so to me, I was constantly trying to beat into her head, like, okay, you have to be thinking about all this shit. Like who's thinking about this, that, and then there's other times where it's like, okay, that's kind of not necessary. Like maybe day 2, Gina Marie came in and she's like, yo, we got to start memorizing everything. And we're like, no, like the memorization comp isn't going to happen for quite a while here. Like we don't have to be counting shit yet, like there's nothing else to do in there. But yeah, it's like I tried to start remembering like days and stuff like that right away. And I started to like try to remind my people, like we have to remember days, like what happened this day, what happened that day, and like that kind of like spread to people that are like less trustworthy with me. And so like eventually people figured out the game of it all, but a lot of recruits come in, they don't know to memorize what's going on, what day, why that's going to matter in the future. Yeah, I think one of my theories is that like the first HOH really dictates the pace of the game. And I think like this is just me like, oh, I'm so great. Like, I'm not saying that, but like, I honestly do think like determine the pace of the game of being like, oh yeah, we have to think about all this stuff. We have to be like strategic. Everyone has to be strategic. What are you doing if you're not being strategic? This isn't fun and games and like kumbaya, like we have to be cutting people, and this is Lord of the Flies. But I don't know, something to think about, like the next time you watch The Next Big Brother, who the first HOH is and like how their HOHs run. I think it will determine, like, because the recruits start to learn from that and they start to be like, oh, so this is how you play the game. I don't know. Again, giving myself too much credit.
No, I think that's so true. Like, I agree with that 100%. And it's actually really funny because when we were watching, a tradition my family has is we watch every season together. And the very first episode, right, we sit down and we all pick one contestant and we bet on, like, okay, we want that person to win, right? Yeah. So oddly enough, you were my pick. So
I'm so sorry. How much do I owe you? How much do I owe you?
it was just for dinner. $25 for dinner for the finale night.
Yep, me your PayPal. Yep. I owe a lot of people. I owe so many people.
Well, and backing on to what we were mentioning before, so did you find maybe having that ride or die with Amanda, like, did that help with the emotional weight going through the game, like day to day?
Yeah, so what a lot of people want to say, and like to a degree, they're right. Like, oh yeah, if you didn't have Amanda, you would have did better. But Amanda was like the social cool kid clique that I didn't have that like social ability, I guess. So she was really like. I honestly think we were two sides of the same coin. I think that she and me and her did super, super well together. The best way that I always describe it is that when you have a rocket that's going to shoot off into space, you have like the rocket and then you have like the fuel thrusters. Amanda was my fuel thrusters that like launched me into the stratosphere. Then I just eject that and then, catapult myself into space. So that was like pretty much like my whole idea behind it. I did the cardinal rules of Big Brother. Don't win HOH first. Don't get into a showman's. But I honestly thought I made the best of both of those situations. I don't know. Like, yeah, everyone wants to say that was a bad idea, but like she took all the heat. We played good cop, bad cop to a really, really good effect, I thought.
Well, yeah, exactly. In the game, you guys bounced off each other really well, and like you were saying, where with the whole rocket, that's how I perceived it in the show as well. So yeah.
And the thing about Amanda is like. I was skeptical on her right away, but like once I started being like, oh yeah, so here's how you play the game and stuff like that, like her analytical mind took over and I could see that she was a gamer. Like Amanda's no joke, a real deal gamer. And she's one of the people that's like, if they ever bring anyone back from my season, I would love to see Amanda because she is like, she's a freak when it comes to the game. She's really, really good at like, thinking about all possibilities and being a lunatic like that. She's amazing at it. Yeah.
Well, and you were in 3 alliances, the 3 a.m. with Aaron, Amanda, Andy, the Goof Troop with Amanda, Judd, and Andy, and the Moving Company with Howard, Jeremy, Nick, and Spencer. Out of all those guys, who did you think you had the most loyalty to during the playing it, and who was like funnest to be around and out of those?
Both of those answers are the Goof Troop. Like my people were 100%. Like now and like after the show, I'm like me and Spencer are the best of buds. But me, Amanda, Andy, and Judd as the Goof Troop, we laughed. I've never laughed so hard in my life. I think just being around them was the best. Like Judd's a shade ball, so it's always tough to trust him. Andy's obviously now a shade ball. But yeah, so maybe. I don't know. I still think I trusted the Goof Troop the most, but Amanda sowed the seeds of doubt in my mind with all of them. And I think she's the one that really poisoned me against like a lot of that. And even I think she might have poisoned Andy against Judd, I guess. But I was about to be Final Four with them, 100% sure, because yeah, they were my people.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so even taking back to what you were mentioning, so week 3, I believe, is when you got to be a have-not. What was that experience like? And what was like, okay, so slop. I've always had that thing where it's like, is it really that bad or are people just picky?
No, it's like, that's the thing. I'm not a picky person at all. I'll eat fucking anything, just garbage. I'll just eat it. But like, yeah, no, it's not bad. But at the same time, it's just neutral. It's just nothing. Like, it's just sustenance, you know? It's just like I don't know, like mud. I don't know. It's not that bad. Eventually, like you just start to develop ways to cook it because you have different oils that you can use. You have different like condiments that you can use. Eventually, we like came upon like a refried slop, double fried with like I can't remember what our have not food was that we could have. It wasn't avocados, but it was like guacamole. So like you could like mix that in there and then refry it, and then I would top it with ketchup and mustard, just a heavy base, and then stir that all up. I still have cravings for it to this day. I love it. I want it so bad right now. Yeah.
Well, do they restrict how much you guys actually eat during production and whatnot? Because I know they stock the fridges and whatnot for you guys.
Yeah, they stock the fridge like in the beginning. They obviously it's just like stacked to the gills. But you know, as people go away, like it's less and less. But they usually give you a good amount. They never like starve you out. But like, you know, sometimes you might run out of pizzas and you might have to like make some bologna sandwiches or some shit. You know, it's never like out of control. But for like have-nots, you know, like you have to sit and like make your own slop, and like it's pretty much unlimited. But the thing is that so you could also top the slop with like some salsa. Like there was like 5 different salsa cans. If you ran out of those salsa cans, like you were screwed for the week. So like have-nots could have chocolate milk. And then like the people that were haves, they would drink the chocolate milk. And then the people that are have-nots are like it's the only thing we can have. There's sugar and all that goodness in there. Like, do not take that away from us. Like, you know, like just let us drink that, and you guys can drink the regular milk, whatever the fuck, you know, like.
Wow, yeah, what?
Bars.
That's a very vicious game move.
No, it really is. It really was, and it's like to me, I would never do that to someone because like that food factor is interesting. I like that's just like a sick thing to do in my mind. But I guess like I should have been more strategical and more like conniving or. You know, like fuck you. I don't know if you guys ever watched Big Brother Canada, but
well, I'm in Canada, so that's.
Okay, okay. Because like right away it goes to Netta when Netta, what was it, season 2, when she like dumped out. I was like, Netta, do not do this. Like you're just gonna create enemies. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like it's just a dick thing to do. I don't know.
Well, and even taking on with that. So, and you mentioned this whole smoking situation in the house. Does production pay for the packs of cigs, or do you guys have to bring
No. So I brought in I think 5 cartons of cigarettes. Okay. I just did the math and then estimated probably another carton. So then I also bummed cigarettes to Amanda, stuff like that. But yeah, like it was kind of a jailhouse thing where it's like these things are a valuable commodity to people that want them.
That's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, Jesse, like there's only like maybe 4 smokers, Jesse being one of them. And she had a freak out one night where they had to stop tearing down the backyard set so she could go out and have a smoke. And I was like, well, if she's going out for a smoke, like let us all go out for a smoke. And so one of the times we go out there for a smoke, and that's when Amanda and Jesse get into it. And like, so then they have to show like the backyard being torn down, which they probably hated to do. You know, they want to look clean and nice, production wise. And it was also one of the times where like a bat just flew around all of us and just like a bad omen of misery. It was so weird. Yeah.
And so what? Looking back at the whole season from premiere to the finale night, what were, I guess, your favorite moments that you can pinpoint saying this was the one thing that I can take away from?
I mean, it's a lot of like little moments with like different cast members, like laughing with them, or just like being in the big group and being like, I can just sit back and just like listen to everyone else because everyone else likes to run their mouth more than I do, but just like being in there and just laughing with everyone. I mean, even some of the stuff I've highlighted. My birthday, which was shown on the episode, that was one of the best ever because, like I said, the year before I was watching the feed. That was what my birthday was like. I'm watching the feeds all day. I took off work. Yeah, like get crazy, like, and everyone should come over and we can all watch the feeds together. Like that was my birthday the year before that, and then the next year, like I was on the feed Like everyone threw me a big birthday. Everyone was like in good spirits. Yeah, that's like one of the best ones for sure. But other than that, like just being gameplay. Like I love like talking game and like deep strategy and stuff like that. Like some of the things that we like planned out and stuff like that. Like that's fun to me. That was just so much fun.
So after the season, did you ever get to go back and rewatch yourself on TV and see the whole season play out?
Yeah, as soon as I got home, I pretty much went home the next day from finale, got straight home, like just bought a bottle of booze and just started episode 1 and like just had all my friends there and just like, all right, we're gonna do this together. Like this is just cathartic at that point.
And what was that like? I guess seeing your gameplay going through and seeing all the sneaky stuff behind the scenes.
To me, like there was no surprises really. Like the only thing, I think I was on the up and up for pretty much most of the game. Like I don't think anything caught me off guard. I don't think I got edited in a bad way. I thought my edit was exactly how I wanted it to be. Like the only thing that caught me off guard is the one thing that caught me off guard in the game was like the exterminators, and like seeing a little bit of like what the exterminators like when they were meeting and like like the situations that arise from that meeting in the house, they felt weird and like we all knew something was up, and it's like good to be like, okay, I remember exactly why this felt weird now, and it's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, you just got to trust in your gut more, like. And one of those things, like I should have trusted my gut and just went with it,
Mm-hmm. Well, and I've noticed even with the last few seasons of Big Brother, and maybe that's just because of me being a little older now and seeing it, but I find that Big Brother, the big part of it is after the show, many house guests, tour around bars and go to the meet and greets around the country. Is that something that like production says like this is something you should do, or even like with Cody and Jessica going on an Amazing Race? Is that like?
Well, and to me, it's like I was not like the problem is that like our season was the racist season. Like no one wanted to see our asses nowhere. Like they were not about us. We didn't have anything like that. I think pretty much like production was probably like, yeah, you can do that if you want, but also like be weary of like guys in trench coats with guns. Like someone's just gonna execute both of you. Yeah, no,
exactly. I know because there was the whole controversy and stuff with that. So
they
must have warned you about all a lot of
so that. Yeah, this is something that so like eventually once we all were done with the game, they were like, all right, so here's the groups, and then they're like, oh yeah, these people in this group, these people in this group, they separated us, and then they like brought us into different rooms or whatever, and so like I'm looking at my group, I'm looking around, it's like Helen, it's like Candace, like just like I'm like, okay, where's Spencer, Gina Marie, Aaron, so they're just like, so like your guys' season was very controversial, like you guys are gonna start getting asked a lot of questions about like this racial stuff and all this stuff, and I was like, like this is real. And so like and then I immediately realized like, oh yeah, the group on the other side, they're being like, you guys have death threats, you guys are in danger, like you need federal agents or something to take you on the flight home. They had to have like protection. I was like, this is insanity. Like I don't think that that's ever happened in any Big Brother season before us, even or after us, I guess. So to me, it's like, production pretty much was like, you guys should lay low and you should never go on the internet again. And it was a lot of that stuff.
And did that affect like a lot of the relationships after the show and like the people you keep in contact with, or was that kind of after the show? It was like, all right, it was just Big Brother.
I think our season is pretty decent. Like I think most of us have like a good enough respect for us. There's obviously some people that will never talk again and stuff like that. But like the majority of our season kind of talks, and like we all have most of us are on a group chat. And we, every once in a while, like now when Big Brother's on, we start like the chat starts up again and like, oh, here we go. Like, which one of you are going to be on it this season? Something like, yeah. And that
was the question I wanted to ask. Would you want to compete again on the show?
Yeah, I'd go back, and I always say I'd go back for a longer period of time and for less money, just because I'm a lunatic, and I'm also desperate. Please give me money. But
I think just like you were saying, the whole experience of the game and doing the strategizing and stuff, and it's either you love doing that stuff or you don't. And I feel like that is you get a rush from it, I guess.
Yep, and that's exactly what it is. Where it's like, there's no other place where you can let your legs go free. Like that's what I always describe. Like you can just run free like a gazelle or a cheetah, even in the wild of like. There's no repercussions for anything I say right here. Like this is all fake land. Like I can be anyone I want to be. I don't have to be Mr. Goody Two Shoes McCrae. That's like a nice guy. I can be evil motherfucker out there, and that's the coolest part about it and that's why I want to do it again, obviously. And yeah, it's just it's like a virtual reality simulator of The Sims, and you get to be a sim and just mess stuff up. But
what would you say is the most difficult? What was the most difficult part about being in the house through the?
In hindsight, it was pretty much like. When I think about it now, it was like the boredom of like just being there, like having to listen to people's stories over and over. Like, no, I already know about your friend Jimmy. Like, no, like we already heard this story. Get us some new stuff. But like when I was there, it was more like having someone like being able to talk to your family, having someone that you can trust, like to talk to and like bounce ideas off of. Because I was always like, Amanda, I don't know if I can really trust you. It's Big Brother. So like, yeah, your family there, like I never thought I was going to be the guy like bawled like a girl, when I got my like family letter. But like when I won my second HOH and I got my letter from my sister, I couldn't read it because I was just like sobbing too hard. And it's like, I never thought I was going to be that person. And that's why my whole idea about it has changed, because every armchair warrior or armchair Big Brother player wants to be like, oh, you've only been gone for a month. But it's like, it's like all the pressures like on top of like that month, of like, you don't have anyone that you can trust. You have no one that you can relate to. You have no like point of reference for anything. Yeah, maybe I'm just a whiner, but I think that it's serious.
And it's awesome to hear yourself talk about that, because that's something I've always assumed about the process of the show. And it's like you're going from, sure, like the everyday world, depending on what your perspective is, it could be good or bad, but you're going into like a high rate social experiment. Yeah. And after, doing it for so long, you just, it gets tiring, and it brings out the emotion and whatnot.
Yeah, it's absolutely, it's a constant strain, and there's no output for that like extra strain. You can go and talk to the producers, but it's like, even that just feels like artificial. So it's I don't know, that part is the weirdest. And the other thing about it is like, now every time I see like the family visits, or not the family visits, but the they get their letters at Big Brother Canada, whatever, they get their videos, I'm still like, I'm choking up. I'm like, oh, like, God, don't cry, like, be strong. Like, it really does like choke me up, because I get back there, I have like a little bit of PTSD, where it's like, I understand exactly what they're going through. Like, it sucks to be in there without some sort of real deal connection with a human. I don't know, it's weird.
That's true. And what advice would you give to people that would like to audition for the show and go on? And was there any advice that you wish you would have been told before you started?
This is always a tough one, because like, I think I knew enough to be like, oh yeah, your whole life is going to be screwed up afterwards. Like, don't do anything stupid, wash your hands, don't pick your nose, all that kind of stuff. But like, one thing, like, my family was amazing about it, but Hamster Watch has an article that Marilyn, who is Spencer's wife to be, she wrote this whole thing about like how to deal with Big Brother fandom if you're a family member. Like, I wish I would have had all my family read it. My family didn't get into Big Brother drama on Twitter. Like, oh, McCrae's a good guy. Like, that always makes your family look bad. Don't let your family get sucked into drama. Just make sure they're off the website, off of social media, I guess.
Or I've even noticed they've even had a brother or sister control their Twitter and promoting and doing that.
Yeah, and like, some people are good at it, but then some people get personal and some people get like pissy, and it's like, that doesn't make you look good. It doesn't get you any fans. Like, the point isn't to get fans, but it just doesn't. It's not a good look, I guess.
Well, it hurts your image that you're trying to proceed on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, that's one of the biggest, I think, things, because like, it's bad on you in the house, but I could never imagine what it's like for my family members, That is, I'm sorry that I put them through that every day, where it's just like, that's just a heart attack waiting to happen, you know, like too much stress. You know, I couldn't ever imagine what's like for my friends and family.
Seeing someone that you love being put in a situation where they could be getting bullied and
shit about, exactly. And that's one of the things where, like, after I left, there was like the final three, you know, and like my parents were like, oh yeah, they just talk so much trash about you. And it's like, well, it probably hurt you guys more than it hurt me, because I don't care. Like, whatever. I'm not going to go back and listen to it. Like, you know, yeah, just let it roll off your back, whatever.
Well, and that plays on the whole, like, it's a game situation, right? I think some players go in.
It's like the only thing you guys have in common is who came before you. You know, you talk shit on David because David left first week. What an idiot. You know, like, you can't talk about production. You can't talk about the outside world because everyone has different likes, but you can talk about every single person that was in that house before you. And so you're just going to shit on everyone. And so I always think it's really funny when people get real tight about like Gina Marie's a prime example. She's always like, I'm going to kill Raven. I'm going to kill this bitch. Like Jesus, you guys don't even know each other. Like, just chill out, you know. Like, to me, it's just like, well, there's no one else to talk about. You can talk about prior seasons. Like, you can just shit on them, and it's funnier to shit on people than it is to be like, they were so amazing, and this really brought the truth of life out. And me, you know, like, whatever. Yeah. So it's just like one of those common things. You can't get mad at that. There's nothing else to talk about. I do too. I do the exact same thing.
Well, yeah, and then so, going through all the Big Brother players and stuff like you were saying, was there anyone that you would have as like your dream all-star Big Brother cast out of any player that's played Canada and
and Canada? Yeah. I would like to see let's go. All right, Peter Brown, Alec, first two, and then Dr. Will and James Ryan. Let's do two more Canadians. I'd like to see Dylan and Emily, because I met them just like at the finale. Love them. They're the best. Oh, I'm just burping all the time. Sorry. Yeah, Dylan and Emily are my next two Canadians. This is like me getting into a fight with someone because someone's like, "Oh, why don't you pick me?"
Why don't you pick me? That's true. I did say you were for failure here. I apologize.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I want to see people that are going to play the game. And then the other problem is, like, the reason I said Dylan and Emily is because, like, they're my friends. They're the best people. I want to see them play a game because they make me laugh. And just watching them on my TV 24/7 would be amazing. Yeah, I mean, like, James Ryan, Crazy James from 8, pretty much all my friends of, like, Spencer. I'd like to see Amanda go again. I'd like to see Ian, Terry. I'd like to see Frank again. Frank. Ian for sure. Frank again. I mean, if I was in the mix, I'd like to play with like some of the big dogs. Like, I'd like to play with like some of the best, like Dan Giesling's, you know, your Derek's, as some people would say. You know, I like to play with, like, I just want to play with winners, like people that are gonna fucking play hard. You've
seen. Well, yeah, and you see their gameplay, and you're like, wow, they know how to talk, and it would just be a challenge.
Exactly. And that was like always the biggest problem with my season. It's like we got rid of like the recruits pretty early. It felt like, you know, and that was just like, oh yeah, this seems like it's really easy. Like, it was easy to get complacent in my house, where it's like, okay, this week is done. This person doesn't know how to play a game. But it's like, if you're playing with all just big dogs, they're gonna know how to talk, walk the walk. You know, they're gonna know how to get out of danger. And I think like you'd have to be on your guard a little bit more. Might be a little bit more interesting in the house. You wouldn't have to be. It wouldn't be so boring. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, and what about? Did you get to catch? I'm sure the Celebrity Big Brother. What did you think of that? And was there any celebrities you would like to see play the game?
Oh shit. I mean, like, I like Celebrity Big Brother. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was better that it was short. I thought it was like a good response to what the UK does for Celebrity Big Brother. It's quite the same. I kind of wish that they would go to the voting style or whatever. What was it? Just at the end they did the voting style? I don't remember how.
Yeah.
Okay. And so like that was that's not bad. But I also don't like when you bring in celebrities and there's a popularity vote. Like, that's tough. You know, I was a big Ross guy, but I thought Marissa winning was good too. You know, again, I also am very like blasé about like every winner. I'm usually like, well, I don't care. I've been there. I mean, not there, but I don't know. I try not to pick favorites. I try to be like as unbiased as possible.
Yeah, of course.
But I thought there was like some good characters. Like I was a huge Omarosa fan. Loved Omarosa. She was my number one, I think. People that I would like to see play, Sam Levine.
Yes, Sam Levine. Yeah, that would be great.
He's my number one, and my number two, like they're tied for number two, or tied for number one, but I know his contracts and stuff like that. Matt Iseman from American Ninja Warrior and from Celebrity Apprentice.
Well, and he was trolling people before the beginning of
Celebrity Apprentice. It was so amazing. It was so good. Yes, Matt Iseman is a legend. I cannot say enough good things about that guy. He's always been there to like. He brought me to American Ninja Warrior was filming in Minneapolis. He reached out and was like, here's tickets. Like, you got double VIP cool guy status. I was like, whoa, dude, I don't need this. Yeah, he's a really, really awesome dude that loves Big Brother. And he's a gamer about it.
And the funny thing about the two names that you just mentioned, and I'm not sure if you're aware, do you know what the Schmodown is online? And the movie trivia.
I believe, yeah. I think I listened or watched that episode, or I don't remember if it was a podcast. Yeah, but they like went against each other.
Well, Matt, I think they had Matt on one of the conductor tables, but Sam Levine's the current champion of the movie trivia thing. So that was funny that both of those that you mentioned.
No, so at one point they did. It was like this. It was this game show. I don't know what it was called, but it was this thing where like they had to sit and like, okay, argue your point for this movie.
Oh, that movie fights probably.
Yeah, movie. I think it was a movie fights or whatever. And then at one point, one of the questions was like, argue your opinion for a reality TV series. And like, so at one point they had to like, they had to preemptively submit what they wanted, and just so happened that Sam Levine got Big Brother first. And then, like, so at the end of Matt's rant about whatever show he did, I don't remember if it was, American Ninja, I don't know. Yeah. But, like, he's like, and I know, Sam, you got Big Brother because that's what I wanted or whatever. So I think, like, they're very aware of each other. And I'd love to see both of them on.
And that's funny because that show you're talking about is the show that actually me and Raul here got introduced with, and that's how we met.
Okay.
That's funny that it all ties together.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, and segueing into movies then, were there any movies and whatnot lately that you've seen that you're a big fan of? Infinity War or Deadpool 2?
I saw Infinity War. I think it was awesome just because of I did not expect the ending. And, like, I thought that was awesome. It was the Rocky 1 ending of just like, oh, yeah, no, everyone's dead. I'm really disappointed that they killed Spider-Man, though, just because, like...
I know.
Sorry, spoilers. But, like, the thing is that to me, it's like, okay, it's fine that they kill Spider-Man, but there's no way that Sony would ever let their main character die without coming back to some degree in the next movie. Right?
And I take along the whole Black Panther thing, too. I think that was very silly, because you're like, well, obviously they're going to...
Yeah, like you can't, like, you should have been careful about the ones that you picked. Like, it should have been people like, the rumors were that Chris Evans not going to come back for Captain America, kill him off, or like you could have been better selective about it, where it's like it would have hid the illusion a little bit better. But let's all be real here. Like the next one, everyone's coming back,
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and Raul, I'll leave you with a couple questions here as well, so that.
I wanted to ask you if you could change something about Big Brother, like a rule or like a game. What would you change if you were a producer right now in Big Brother?
That's a good question. I would change the. I changed the rule of like. There's a rule that you can't talk about. You can't tell the person that you're gonna nominate that you're gonna nominate them before you nominate them. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So like, there's this. It's like I don't know if I really like that rule. To me, it's just like, oh yeah, you should be able to tell everyone that you're about to nominate them. I think it like they use it to like add to the production value of the aired shows. So it's like, oh, like it's gonna make it a little bit more like they don't
you might get a reaction out of it.
Yeah, they don't want to have to tell their story around them already being told, and then it's like, well, then your third act has nothing or whatever, you know. So to me, that I think is just stupid. There's more. This question's a good question because that one caught me off guard. I don't know exactly what I would change, I guess. Yeah, like maybe not being able to not do movie quotes. That's a stupid rule. I mean, obviously copyright stuff like that, but like that was another thing that you could always bond over. Is like, oh, did you see this? And then you start quoting stuff, and then you get the warning from stop quoting things, or even singing. I guess if you could sing in the house, singing would be fucking awesome. Just because like I sing all the time around my house, even if it's not like a song that's an out there song. Like I just make up bullshit and just and that's tough to not do anymore. This is a good question.
And actually, backing onto the whole singing and partying aspect of the Big Brother house, something I was just, you probably won't have a definitive answer, but with your opinion, with the legalization of like marijuana here in Canada, do you think they're going to allow that to be like how alcohol is used in the house?
It depends on the method of usage. I think they'll never actually, like, to be honest, they'll probably never do it just because like it's, I don't know.
I would
like,
just thought it would contrast from the show going on. It would just be lounging around eating slop and
yeah, same shit. Well, and like I mean, like would they? So when they give out booze like at 9 p.m. on a Friday or whatever, they give out like, oh, here you go. Like would they just give out like 10 marijuana pills or something like that? Like you couldn't have the smoking because it'd be like some sort of fire code, or like maybe they pre-rolled joints or something. I mean, like the thing about it to me is like alcohol was fun in the house and it was like a good getaway, but other people would take other drugs. Like it's common knowledge that Amanda was on Adderall and Xanax. Like those two drugs are like a couple other people had those drugs in the house, and so like Adderall like literally makes you think faster. It's a cognitive enhancer. Like it makes you think faster, but your thoughts might not be the right thoughts. So you just might have a bunch of bad thoughts really fast. I think like that worked in Amanda's favor, and it also worked against Amanda. And then Xanax, the other one, like that just knocks you out. So you're just like comatose. So it's like, yeah, drugs would be interesting and they'd be fun, but it's also like, I don't know, like, would they affect your game is the better question. Like, how would marijuana affect someone's game? I mean, it could make, someone that's more high strung, like a little bit like more enjoyable to be around. But, the problem is that you have to tell that story if you're CBS, like on the air show. If someone looks like just gone, I mean, you can explain it away as drunk because America doesn't mind that. Like explaining it away as they're high, like that's a little bit.
There's a lot of people that are still against. Yeah, exactly.
It's a bigger hoop to jump through, I'd say.
Also, if you could be right now in another reality show, which reality show would you like to be on? Not Big Brother.
I would say that it's Survivor, just because Survivor, the money that they make on Survivor is absolutely bonkers. Like I have like the love of the game of Big Brother. That's what I love. Like I don't care about any other reality shows, really, I guess. I love the game of Big Brother. But Survivor, they make serious money. Like every third eviction is $1,000 or something or every eviction is $1,000, and that's every 3 days. And so you can go, and then also if you get evicted and then you go to finale, you get $10,000. So if you get evicted first and go to finale, you've made as much as any one Big Brother player that made it to jury has made.
Wow, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah. And so to me, it's like I am poor. Like I'll go starve and eat bugs for a while. Like like I'll get evicted first. Yeah, I'm already eating bugs. Yeah. So
that's funny. Yeah, I think Survivor would be a crazy experience.
It's a challenge, though. That's a real deal challenge. Yeah, there's this Korean show that I've been watching called Busted on Netflix, and it's like an escape room TV show, kind of. It's messed up, but it's like that's the real deal. That's a show I want to be on because that show is hilarious. It looks like fun. I don't know. Everyone check out Busted.
That's on Netflix, I believe, eh?
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, if you don't mind reading subtitles for like an hour and a half, like every episode is hilarious. It's so good. I'm about it, and I didn't think I was gonna be about it at all.
Well, thank you. And so rounding up kind of the episode here, Nintendo had their E3 announcement today. I know you were watching that, so maybe we talk about it quickly. What did you think about the Pokemon reveal and the Smash Bros?
Pokemon, I'm excited about because that's my game. Also, like I remember, the big Game Boys playing Pokemon on that. Amazing. I'm excited to play that game actually. But yeah, Smash is my game. Right around the exact same time that we started watching Big Brother, we'd watch Big Brother on one screen and we'd play Super Smash Bros. Melee on the other screen. We got into the competitive scene. We were obsessed with it. Super Smash Brothers is my game. And I know that you guys talk about movies. One other movie that I would recommend, if you are also into Nintendo and Super Smash Brothers, there's a documentary out called The Super Smash Bros. It's this documentary that was made in the community. It's actually very, very, very well done. It's like, I don't remember how many 10-part miniseries. I don't know if you've ever seen Survivor with Ken from Gabon. Ken from Gabon, he's like one of the all-time greatest Smash Brothers players. So he features prominently in this documentary. And so this documentary is like the history of like the Smash Brothers competitive scene from like the very beginning to like the end. And it's a very, very well-crafted documentary. It's on YouTube. You can check it out for free. Super Smash Bros. Something. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Wow, I'm gonna look that up and throw it in the description because that sounds great.
It's fantastic. It's super, super good. And a lot of people that don't like Smash, they watch it and they're like, "Oh, this looks cool. Like this is interesting. I like this." Very compelling documentary, actually.
Yeah. Also, if you can compare your season on Big Brother to a movie or TV show or a video game, what will be the answer for it?
I'm trying to think of the like maybe American History X. I don't know.
That's funny. That's good.
Yeah, no, just whatever is the most racist thing you can think of. Look who's
Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah. Sam Levine, Inglourious Bastards. Yeah, exactly.
So that's amazing. So is there any future podcasts and whatnot that you're working on currently that
so
we can get into there?
Yeah, me and Cameron from last season of Big Brother 19, we actually do a weekly, it's tri-weekly show. Every single time that a Big Brother episode airs, we'll be on after that show with a Big Brother podcast, just running down the episode, who we like, all that kind of stuff. Me and Cameron, I've got like segments, I've got crazy stuff. It's a really fun show, really laid back. We're drinking, we're having a good time, just talking about Big Brother in a laid back manner.
And you can find that on Twitch, or do you stream it?
Yeah, it's on Twitch, twitch.tv/Chumlord, CHUMLORD. Go watch it there. And also, if you go to... Oh, hold on a second. Hold on. Sorry. If you go to... if you're a person that can't watch live feeds in Canada... if you can't watch the American live feeds in Canada, also you can go to it's www.bmx-tv.net. They're also like a really big proponent of our show. You should go watch. They have live feeds. They've got everything on there. But they also advertise our show. So I like to sit in their chat and like BS with everyone. So definitely check out that website also for all your Big Brother needs. But yeah, just check out On the Block. Whatever.
And I know the new season's starting pretty soon here, right?
Finale's coming up soon. Yeah. And I might be going to finale. We'll see.
Ooh, that's fun.
Premiere. I should say premiere. Yes, I might be going to premiere.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
And before we let you go, can you please call out Kevin Martin and Peter Brown to come on the show? Because you three are my favorite all-time guests, and I can't DM them. So
okay. K Martin, Peter Brown, I'll tell them. I'll tell him. I'm down.
Perfect. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. Excellent.
Well, thank you again, and bye everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
There he goes.